Well, time now is 9:02, and after being closed for several hours, a portion of the I-17 northbound at Camelback back open once again. The closure all because of a multi-vehicle crash. It involved a wrong-way driver. Jill Gallis has been covering this story from the very beginning, and she joins us from the scene to tell us what happened. And Jill, it seems like more and more we're hearing about these wrong-way drivers.
Unfortunately, and DPS officers say they are working closely with ADOT, doing everything they can to prevent wrong-way drivers from even entering the freeway in the wrong lanes in the first place. But bottom line, it all comes down to personal responsibility. As you mentioned, the freeway now back open in the northbound lanes, but this is where the scene was earlier this morning. At this hour, 3 people remain hospitalized. One of those victims still listed in extremely critical condition, and we've learned that that victim is actually a dispatcher for the Phoenix Fire Department who was simply on her way home from work when this wrong-way driver slammed into her. This all happened right after 1 o'clock this morning. There was actually a DPS officer in this area who was traveling northbound and then noticed headlights shining right at him coming from the off-ramp over at the Glendale Avenue exit. At that time, that officer tried to conduct a traffic brake to get this person safely off to the side of the road, but unfortunately, that did not work. This driver veered to get around the officer's vehicle, then continued going southbound in the northbound lanes and slammed into one car, then slammed into a second car. In both of those instances, DPS officers say that those drivers reacted defensively. They were able to swerve a little bit to try and avoid a head-on collision, and officers say they believe it was that action that helped save their lives.
The best thing we can tell drivers out here is just don't be distracted when you're driving. That way you can see vehicles coming, try to avoid them. We've given some tips to stay out of the HOV lane after certain periods of the night. After midnight, you don't want to be in the HOV because typically that's where the wrong way driver is going to be driving, thinking that they're going the correct direction.
Police say the wrong-way driver also had a passenger in the vehicle alongside him. At this time, we're told that he is being investigated for DUI.
It is 4:30 on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, Arizona. We've got some breaking news we want to begin with. A portion of I-17 northbound closed after a wrong-way driver crash involving 3 vehicles.
Bad situation. Jill Gallis joins us live from the scene between Camelback and Bethany Home Road. She's got the latest on what is going on out there. Jill, good morning.
Good morning, Gina and Scott. Right now, 3 people are in the hospital being treated, 1 listed in serious condition after DPS officers say the driver of a Suburban that's just up in the distance from where we're standing this morning slammed into 2 cars while going the wrong way. This happened just after 1 a.m. That's when a DPS officer just happened to be in this area and noticed headlights coming straight at him, basically from the Glendale Avenue off-ramp. Now, that's when that officer immediately tried to conduct what's known as a traffic brake as an attempt to get this driver off to the side of the road before crashing into anyone. But unfortunately, this wrong-way driver continued going southbound in the northbound lanes here, had moved over to the HOV lane after swerving around this officer's car and then slammed into one car and then hit a second car as well. Now, DPS officers on scene here say that these 2 vehicles that this wrong-way driver hit, those drivers had a chance to react defensively to avoid head-on collisions, something that officers say they believe helped save their lives.
The best thing we can tell drivers out here is just don't be distracted when you're driving. That way you can see vehicles coming, try to avoid them. We've given some tips to stay out of the HOV lane after certain periods of the night. After midnight, you don't want to be in the HOV because typically that's where the wrong way driver is going to be driving, thinking that they're going the correct direction.
There were 4 people involved in total in this multi-vehicle crash. We're told that the wrong-way driver was also traveling with a passenger. At this time, they say it is still not clear what caused this person to be going the wrong direction on the highway here in the first place. Now, you cannot get on the I-17 northbound at Camelback Road. It will remain closed for several hours as they continue their investigation out here on the freeway. So, Gina, we want to hand things over to you because it looks like this this will be a problem during the morning commute.
All right, well, let's go ahead and map things out. Jill, thank you for the details on what happened out there. Now let's talk about the details of how it will affect your drive this morning. Once again, it is the northbound side of the I-17. Now, the rush hour flows on the southbound side. That doesn't mean that's not going to cause a huge distraction. But let's talk about your alternates if you are northbound. In fact, real quick, let me pull up the ADOT camera just a little bit south of where Jill is reporting, and you can see they've got the flares out, DPS forcing everybody off the freeway here at Camelback. However, I tweeted them this morning, and here's what they say. They say that the frontage road is open. So as you get off the freeway, you stay right on the frontage road, and you can get right back onto the I-17 at Bethany Home Road. At this point, there isn't that much of a backup, so I'm going to recommend that you stay on the I-17. Just give yourself a few extra minutes, and then again, if you just make your way right through that light, you will be good to go back on that I-17. We're going to continue to monitor this. Jill and I will tag team to get you the latest information. As soon as the I-17 opens up again, we'll certainly give you a heads up here on Good Morning Arizona.